Yes, there's already a Charizard TCG history video up, but at the time of recording and posting that video, the latest set was Team Up. And boy oh boy, has there been a whole lot of Charizarding that's gone down since then. So the purpose of this video is to catch up on all of the Charizard cards that have been printed since then, since there have been a significant amount, enough to talk about for a completely separate video. So let's go ahead and dive right back in where we left off with the Charizard from the Team Up theme deck. As predicted, it was a very fun theme deck card. In fact, when I play PTCGO, this is my go-to theme deck if I just want to tear through some matches and win as quickly as possible, because that theme deck is so consistent. It's got a ton of search cards that can help you just rip through your deck and get the exact cards you need. You can stall with the Rapidash that's in that deck. And then you can get a blank Charizard into the active position. Just use Roaring Resolve to get those 2 fire energy on it. Use Continuous Blaze Ball and knock out pretty much any Pokemon you're going to be facing in that theme deck format. Outside of the online theme deck meta, it's not really anything special. And I have turned around on the artwork the more I look at it. Just the perspective of the Charizard and just the way its face looks, the positioning of its eye, something about it really bothers me and I don't like looking at it. So let's get it out of here. It was reprinted as a Sun and Moon promo with artwork that I much prefer, so thank goodness for that. Next up is the Charizard from the Detective Pikachu mini set. You know, this set was more of just a novelty. Nothing in it was really meant to be usable, so that's the type of Charizard that we ended up with. The same goes for the Charizard GX of the set. It was kind of just a means to sell more product because, yeah, it is a unique card having this movie CGI Pokemon as the background in this full art. So it is neat to have from a collector's position, but from a competitive position, it just kind of exists. In the Unbroken Bond set, we got the Reshiram and Charizard Tag Team GX. And at first glance, you look at the energy cost for these attacks and you go, that is not a very usable card. But in the context of the metagame, you do have access to Welder and Giant Hearth, which allowed you to accelerate fire energy from your deck to your hand, and then from your hand onto this Pokemon, making Reshiram and Charizard GX an early game powerhouse with lots of HP. And then of course you also had the alternate art and the Rainbow Rare version with this really lazy artwork. Luckily, Charizard has a knack for getting reprinted as promos, such as this Sun and Moon promo reprint of Reshiram and Charizard Tag Team GX with much better artwork than the lazy CGI shit. But that's not the only time that this exact same card got printed as another promo, cause look at this gold one. Just look at it. Next we have the Charizard GX from Hidden Fates, and I feel like this is a point where context is needed. So at this point in the Pokemon TCG, a lot of people had soured on the idea of these Tag Team GXs. I definitely quit playing at the time. I dropped off from buying new products. Demand for the Pokemon TCG had fallen off pretty hard. GameStop was selling ETBs for 50% off just to get rid of them. Retail shelves were always stocked with Pokemon product. It was not hard to find at all. This is pre-Logan Paul shenanigans, pre-pandemic Pokemon panic. And I can't confirm this, but from my point of view, the Pokemon company was going, we need to move some product. What's gonna do that? Well, people like Pikachu, Charizard, Evolutions, Mewtwo, let's just start putting a bunch more of those Pokemon into products and see if people will buy more of them. Which is certainly one of the driving forces behind why there are so many Charizard cards printed so closely together from this point in time up to where we are now with Lost Origin just being released and more Charizard products on the horizon, but we will get to those later. For now, just have a look at this very mediocre Charizard GX card. That, of course, got reprinted as a Sun and Moon promo because why not? Why not just make all the Sun and Moon promos Charizard? In Burning Shadows, we got the shiny Charizard GX, which at the time wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah, collectors were chasing it, but not nearly as big of a deal as it became once Pokemon craze did hit in 2020, and this became a chase card for a lot of people, and the prices just skyrocketed. Bear in mind that this card still released during a time where retailers were struggling to get Burning Shadows off the shelf. Now moving on to Cosmic Eclipse, where history has repeated itself. Once again, we see Charizard featured on a Tag Team GX card with Braxton. Gorgeous artwork, I'm a fan. And then there are these atrociously stupid looking alternate arts with this CG generator for the two Pokemon. It doesn't look like they even belong on the same card together. It's ugly, it's soulless. I really don't understand why they would make these the two of the three other versions of this card. As you already know or could have guessed, yeah, there is another Sun and Moon promo featuring Charizard and Braxton Tag Team GX that looks better than the CG art. I still prefer the original artwork myself, but, art's subjective. And, if you disagree with me, then let me know down in the comments. Speaking of Sun and Moon promos, here's another Charizard one. This is a reprint of that Team Up theme deck Charizard with Roaring Resolve and Continuous Blaze Ball. This time it's to tie in with that really bad Mewtwo Strikes Back CG remake. That being said, I do kind of like that the clone Charizard from that movie did get a little bit of spotlight in the TCG, even if it is just an alternate art. Oh boy, and then we got Charizard V from Darkness Ablaze, which was also reprinted as a Sword and Shield promo, which was also reprinted as a shiny version in Champion's Path. Like, I know that the tone of this video sounds like I'm just hating on Charizard like usual, and it's not that exactly. I am just sick of seeing this thing in every single new set that comes out, which makes it not special. It makes it just an annoying thing that keeps showing up when there are tons of other Pokemon that have barely seen print that I would like to see some new cards of. Because I like Charizard VMAX. I like its design, the aesthetic, and I like that it has an attack that deals 300 damage. That's just a very Charizard thing to do. Even going all the way back to base set when, 120 was the most damage you could deal with one attack straight up without coin flips or anything. And it's interesting that this card was just passed off from the get-go as like, yeah, 300 damage is a lot, but for 5 energy, it's too slow. But with Arceus V-Star, some people made it work. I loved seeing Charizard VMAX showing up at these big regional tournaments, where dealing 280 plus damage was the key to winning any game. Did it need a Rainbow Rare reprint in Champion's Path? No. Did it need a shiny version reprint in Shining Fates? No. But its inclusion in both of those sets definitely helped sell more product, and if that revenue is what is helping keep this franchise that I love so much afloat and justifies the release of more Pokemon content and product that I will enjoy consuming in the future, then what am I complaining about? Excellent question. I am my own devil's advocate. Vivid Voltage got another theme deck Charizard, and this is another pretty fun one as it's pretty easy to get a Leon supporter in your discard pile and start dealing some pretty big damage for only 2 fire energy. Now, this theme deck isn't as consistent or powerful as the team up one, in my opinion at least, or how I've been using it online, but it's still a pretty fun and simple card. And wouldn't you know it, it was also a Sword and Shield promo card. Celebration saw the reprint of base set Charizard in an admittedly cool style. You do have the big 25th anniversary Pikachu stamp in the corner of the artwork, but this is part of the textured subset, so the actual card itself is really nice to have as a collection piece. This is one of the few subset cards I wasn't able to pull from buying one of each Celebrations product. However, I was able to obtain one of the metal reprints of base set Charizard without the Pikachu stamp in the corner, and this is just another amazing collection piece that has held its value. Considering that the MSRP for that Celebrations Premium Collection was $120, this Charizard card alone still goes for over $100. And with Celebrations reprints being highly unlikely, this is a card that I am happy to have snagged in that set for MSRP. Celebrations also had a pretty fun promo card in Lance's Charizard V, which is a little bit of a throwback not just to the gym sets, but to Lance's Charizard in the Versus series set that never got a release outside Japan. That box also came with a pretty good looking jumbo card, and I'm always down for a cool jumbo card. Moving on to yet another Charizard V that came along with Brilliant Stars. The card itself is pretty mediocre. There's also the alternate full art that is there, but oh boy, just look at this alternate full art. One of my favorite full arts I've seen in a very long time, just because of how dynamic it is. You can feel the battle going on between this Charizard and this Venusaur. I love it. From what I understand, this is an extremely hard card to pull. Right now, it goes for about $180 at the very lowest price, and you can kind of imagine where it goes from there. It's just at that magical crossroads between Charizard collectors and appreciators of good art. But Brilliant Stars also gave us the Charizard V-Star, which does the very Charizard thing of dealing a lot of damage for a lot of energy. So far in the metagame, this card hasn't really found its niche quite yet. Only time will tell if it ever does. Nonetheless, it is a sought-after card because it is a Charizard. There is a Rainbow Rare Charizard V-Star as well, but I always prefer the original. The Rainbow Rares don't do anything for me, but that's just a personal preference. The Pokemon Go set shocked the hell out of me because I thought it was just going to be another throwaway gimmick set like Detective Pikachu was, but there's a surprising amount of playable cards in Pokemon Go, and both of the Charizards released in Pokemon Go are surprisingly good. Charizard's Burn Brightly ability makes it extremely usable in any fire deck. My favorite one is the Centiskorch Mill deck, using the Centiskorch from the Sword and Shield base set, but it's been reprinted a couple times, so it's available out there. Pretty much you just attach a bunch of fire energy that serve as double fire energy every time you do, and realistically, you really only need to use a powered up 100-foot flames once in a game to really just deck out your opponent, because most of the time you're up against a big deck like Arceus or Palkia, which are typically solely focused on burning through their own deck to get all of the cards they need for their setup and then just getting big knockouts. But with this deck, you're only offering up single prize knockouts, so you've got plenty of time to build up a Centiskorch 100-foot flames and just pull the game out from under them. And even though this Charizard does work better as a support card to a bigger Pokemon utilizing those fire energy, still does pretty well by itself. I mean, dealing 170 damage off of 2 basic energy is not bad for a single prize attacker. Similarly, dealing 250 damage for only 1 energy is even better, which is what Radiant Charizard can do late game as just a clutch sweeper in any deck. And this card popped up a surprising amount of times at these big regional tournaments. I think it was even at Worlds, being used in a deck that was just the Greninja Shady Dealings engine and 1 Radiant Charizard. You can only have 1 in your deck, but that's all you really need. It was so fun watching this extremely skilled player. I'm sorry I can't remember the person's name, but basically, using all of the early turns of the game to get their setup, get that Radiant Charizard prepared, allow your opponent to take 3 or 4 prizes, no biggie, because you're going to step in with his Radiant Charizard and just knock out everything your opponent can put in the active position. And in a lot of cases, you would worry, like, okay, well, there's only 1 copy of this card, what if it's prized? Well, you do have stuff like Hisuian Heavy Ball that lets you check your prizes and see where it's at in there. It's even pretty easy to just scoop Radiant Charizard up off of the field and back into your hand, play it right back down, attach one energy, and use Combustion Blast turn after turn. And I do want to emphasize that it takes an extremely skilled player to pull off this deck with the same efficiency that we saw at these big tournaments. Radiant Charizard's just one of those cards that has so much potential and is just waiting for those skilled players to step in and take full advantage of what it can do. Charizard's latest appearance as a promo card is as a Sword and Shield promo with Special Delivery Charizard. This is a fairly recent one, as you would request a code from the Pokemon Company International. They would send it to you, you redeem it, you get this card in the mail. It's got some fun artwork on it. It's a good collector's piece. It's not super useful. There's way better Charizards, as we have just talked about, but it is a great novelty card, and I've seen people going pretty crazy over this, just the way the promotion has been going and awaiting it to come in the mail. It's fun. At the time of recording this video, the latest Charizard to see print is from Lost Origin. It is the Trainer Gallery Charizard that has the full art with Leon, and this Charizard is a reprint of the one from Vivid Voltage, which we've already talked about, but just wanted to throw this new artwork out there. From what I've seen so far of the set, this Charizard is one of the easier Trainer Gallery cards to pull. Usually they're kind of split down the middle, and this Charizard is in the half. That's a little easier to pull, so that's always nice for a Charizard. But we're still not done with the topic, because there's more Charizarding on the horizon. There's a Charizard Ultra Premium Collection dropping next month, October of 2022. They gotta boost up those fourth quarter earnings. Like the other UPCs we've been seeing lately, this one's got a pretty clean design. It's got the magnetic flap that you can fold over to pull out these 3 individual drawers. This collection box comes with a bunch of goodies, but of course the ones that we're interested in talking about here are these 3 special art etched foil promo cards of Charizard V, Charizard V Max, and Charizard V Star. So let's have a look. The Charizard V reprint looks like a follow-up to that Brilliant Stars alternate art where Charizard and Venusaur were having this battle. The battle has concluded, the forest is a wreck, and Charizard's just taking a little nap here. Personally, this is my favorite of the 3, just really because of the aesthetic itself. I'm just more of a fan of the comfiness of this card, because yeah, on closer inspection, Venusaur is actually taking a little nap back there too. The Charizard V Max is a little more reminiscent of just classic fantasy artwork, you know, really playing off of Charizard V Max's dragon-esque design, or a worm, or a salamander, whatever the correct terminology is. I do like the painted on canvas kind of look that this artwork has as well. I just don't like it as good as the sleepy, comfy Charizard. I don't know if we got a final product image, but I'm pretty sure that this is the artwork that's going to be featured on the playmat that comes with the Ultra Premium Collection. Japan got a Charizard VMAX artwork very similar to this one. I'm pretty sure it's from the same artist. It's not the exact same one as the card, so I don't know if the playmat is going to feature that artwork or this one, but we'll have to wait and see. Charizard V-Star is the one that I've been seeing the most chatter about, just because the artwork is so bombastic. It has a lot going on here, and when I see the 3 cards in person, my opinion might change, but there is a lot going on here in this artwork. You have Charizard fighting Mewtwo. If you look a little closer, you can actually pick out a bit more of the details of other Pokemon witnessing this battle. You've got your Diglett in the wall there. You've got the, V-Star sparkles coming off of the Charizard. You can see all the way down the waterfall there into the canyon. Mewtwo's charging up some kind of big shadow ball looking attack. Tangrowth doesn't know what's going on back there. A lot of dynamic action and colors going on here, so it is a very pretty card to look at. I'm excited to see all 3 of these out of the box, especially with the etched foil. And that is where we're at with Charizard in the mainline TCG currently. Who knows, in a few months I might have to make another 20-minute catch-up video on the TCG history of Charizard, just because they are printing this Pokemon set after set. But I am curious to know what your guys' favorite recent Charizard is. What type of playability have you found from these Charizards, or what types of collector's joy have you gotten from collecting any Charizard in particular? Let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next video. Bye.